All right, good morning. Let's call this meeting Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. It's 10:02. This time I'd ask you all to join me in prayer, please. Father God, we come together today thankful for the many blessings and the things that you give us in the country that we live in. Father, we ask that you reach out and watch over all the first responders as they have given their life to protecting others. Father, we ask that you watch over this meeting today. You guide us with heart and spirit and facts, and let us make decisions that are true and right and in the best interests of the people of this county. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Take your seats, please. I would ask the court to take action on the consent agenda.
Motion approved, Gary.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Beecham, motion by Commissioner Mahler, second by Commissioner Beecham. Any comments, anyone in the audience on the consent agenda items?
On item 3, just let the people know that we're just not comfortable without those two positions until we've really got our feet wet with Odyssey. Basically, that's just insurance for us.
Well, and also, both department heads asked the people
Yes.
to give them a little more solidity in their positions.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item number 1 is review and approve the regular bills for payment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harvey, a second by Commissioner Beecham to approve the bills. Any comments or questions on the bills?
They're too high. I don't think we ought to pay them.
You can come out with that random no vote that we had a couple of weeks ago. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 2 is discuss, consider, take action to approve the hiring of a regular full-time assistant veteran service officer in Wichita County Veterans Office with a salary of up to $33,000 per year with an effective date of hire to be as soon as possible following the successful completion of all pre-employment testing, with funding from Department 405 budget with shortages to be covered from the general fund contingency line. I don't think that prior to the time that Sherry's going to leave, unless we get exceptionally lucky, that we would have someone qualified and ready in place. And so it would only be some overlap if she had vacation time that carried beyond that. An interesting change in the law is that that position now can be filled by a non-veteran, which that's first time, but that was passed in this legislative session. So that might give us some different latitude, but I think certainly all hiring preference is always comes down as being, veterans are favored. And so that would be, I'd ask for a motion then to approve this.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions, anyone in the audience on this item? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 3 is discuss, consider, take action to approve the Texas Flooring Gallery quote for carpet flooring at a cost of $3,364.35, or alternative vinyl for $4,462.75 for the lawyer's lounge to be paid from permanent improvement fund or general fund contingency, whichever is appropriate as determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Beecham.
Yes, Judge. I have two alternatives here. Of those two, the vinyl flooring would be the longest lasting and the most appropriate for the use of that room, because there are a lot of coffee spills, et cetera, on that carpet, which leads to the deterioration. That carpet in there is, as you well know, it's seen its better days. It's both buckled and stained.
Mm-hmm.
So
We have a lot of events in there, too.
that's why I'm saying the vinyl floor would work better. It would be the wood look vinyl like we put up in the 4th floor courtroom.
And y'all worked around any sound issue, you think?
Oh, this is for the lawyer's lounge.
Lawyers Lounge,
This-
it's a meeting room, you know,
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
this shouldn't have the same issues as the courtroom. I think with the just over $1,000 difference in price and the longer lasting product, I think it would be well worth the extra thousands to go with the vinyl.
yes, sir. Any,
So it would be my motion,
Yeah.
yeah, go with the vinyl.
I guess we'd second that.
okay, any comments or questions, anybody in the audience? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried 5-0. Item 4 is discuss and consider take action to approve a quote from Hudson Blueprint for furniture for the district clerk's office at a cost of $13,095.76 to be paid by transfer from general fund contingencies to lines determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Beecham.
Yes, Judge, this was brought to us from Ms. Flores last week during our budget discussion. It was originally put on for next year's budget, but due to tariff concerns and the rising cost of this kind of product, we had discussed going ahead and taking action on it out of this year's budget. So I just brought it forth for discussion. And so it'd be my motion to go ahead and approve this $13,095.76 for the purchase of that furniture.
Yes, certainly.
That's a better number than we were expecting, isn't it?
Yeah,
I was thinking we were discussing something over 15.
yeah, at 15, I believe.
Yeah. Second.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Okay, item 5 is discuss, consider, or take action to approve a quote from Hudson Blueprint for furniture for County Court at Law Number 2, jury box, and the lawyer's lounge at a cost of $5,351.44 to be paid by transfer from general fund contingencies to lines determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Beecham.
Yeah, this is two different items. One to replace the furnishings that are in the same shape as the carpeting in the lawyer's lounge. The vinyls tore, wore out, the actual rollers and everything on the chairs are falling apart. Same way with the chairs within the County Court at Law Number 2. They are loose, can't be tightened. We've tried everything to keep them tight where they're stable. So this is just to replace a bunch of old furniture that's probably 30-plus years old.
Can we consolidate it like this? Or
Yeah.
does it need to be separate?
It's all coming out of general fund contingencies.
Okay.
So it would be my motion to approve the purchase of the furnishings for both the lawyer's lounge and CCL2.
Is there a second?
Second.
I don't think we got that.
Think you got it? Okay,
That's pretty quick.
yeah. Any comments, anyone in the audience? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Item 6, discuss, consider, or take action to approve, excuse me, to authorize, okay, that item we're going to pull down after the,
The discussion.
yeah, after the closed session discussion, which will be shortly. Item 7, discuss, consider, take action to pay repair claims and rental cars for fees to Robin Huff and regarding the tree falling on her personal vehicle with payment from general fund contingencies. Commissioner
So
Beecham.
moved.
Well, I want to change how it's worded,
Okay.
not to pay directly to Robin Huff, but pay on behalf of Robin Huff. The repair estimate for the repair of the vehicle came in at $2291.25, and rental for up to a month would be up to $937.87 for a total cost of $3229.12. So that would be my motion to
Yeah.
approve up to $3229.12 in payment of claims related to damages to Robin Huff's vehicle.
Sheriff?
Just to make it clear, she wasn't parking on the newly grass, see the grass. She wasn't public parking in the streets.
I heard she was trying to put handcuffs on that tree limb. She was so mad.
You
That
got it.
trillion's bigger than she is, so.
That's her in jail.
You've got to wonder what kind of a day you're having when a tree falls on your car.
That was not a good phone call.
Chief Schultz suggests we cut it off at the fender, and she can haul the rest of it to the dump.
I'll tell you what,
All day long.
If a tree falls on a car, does it make a sound?
yeah,
No, but the owner does.
Okay.
At least the tree didn't fall on the owner, that's the better
That's,
part.
could have been worse,
That's what I was afraid of, if somebody been walking by,
yeah.
and then you run on.
I don't know, they might have been governor.
okay.
You have a motion, Judge?
Yes, I have a motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay. Any comments or questions, anyone in the audience? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 8, discuss, consider, take action to approve the county treasurer's report for May 2019 and authorize county judge and commissioner to sign the affidavit certifying compliance with section 11.026C of the local government code, May 2019. Mr. Hampton?
What you have in front of you, of course, is the end of May. And do you have any questions on that? We, at this time, appear to be 5% ahead of where we were trailing 12 months. And you say, well, that may be good news.
It would be at night, huh?
Yeah, but there's some hidden things that need to be, that's my job to point out. First of all, we still owe $2.5 million to Pilgrim Bank. And the other side of it is we still owe money to Wells Fargo of almost $620,000. So we're still paying off some heavy-duty stuff.
And that note's fully funded, right, Bob?
Fully
The
funded?
Pilgrim Bank? No,
Fully funded.
we have,
Yeah, we're paying it off.
and we've taken
As long as we
everything,
make payments.
okay, but I mean, we took our full $3.5 million off that note?
Yes, we borrowed, between the two, we borrowed right at $7 million. And Pilgrim and Wells Fargo.
Okay, but the
Which
Wells
is-
Fargo.
Which is indicated there on your spreadsheet that you have in front of you. Which is, closes out in June. Go ahead with the rest of it, Jeff. What do you-
Well, that 3.5 million, we did our Odyssey, Eagle, and Munis purchase out of that loan, so I just didn't know if we had booked against every bit of that money. I'm assuming that we did.
Well,
Okay.
as the sheet, if I'll switch you over to June then, or let's talk about that when we get to it then. Any questions on the TSG report?
No, sir.
Okay. Now then, the spreadsheet that I give you is towards the end of June. And any questions on that? Once again, ready cash, and cash available, and we're ahead of where we were this time last year, which is always a good,
It's a good thing.
a good sign, yeah. Beige book report last week was positive, but the Federal Reserve Chairman looks like he's going to lower the Fed rate 25 basis points here before long, with another decrease.
Which is really
Probably
good if
sometime
you
this
owe
year.
money, but not very good if you have money.
You're exactly right, Harry, it's a double-edged sword.
You know, Bob, I
So-
always follow my precinct, you know, the total checking posted, total asset, exactly what we're talking about there, and it's like 213,000 lower than a year ago, which I think just shows the fact that we've worked on some major projects. And Willie, that might reflect that motor grader purchase too. think we had that in there after, can't remember the exact timing, but you always follow that just to see where we are. And we do have pretty good inflation in road materials and the things that we deal with every day, so that's something we have to keep an eye on. It costs more to do what we used to do, I guess is what I'm saying, but I appreciate this report because it gives me a handle on how we're doing and how we're progressing, and just an easy checkup every month.
But I think I know the answer to your question, Jim. We got 1.7 billion still in those two banks that is still being available for spending.
We haven't accrued any other place yet. We had just began to investigate the Pilgrim note, if we could refund differently with another tax deferred. Maybe the Pilgrim note was a little higher interest, and we thought maybe we could investigate how that would play out. And that's why I wondered if we draw it on a line of credit there, if there was still funds to be had. I didn't know how we set up the note.
Yeah, the Pilgrim Bank right now, at the end of June, of course, has 1.2 million still in it.
Have we funded the radio project yet, or is that still to come?
Part of it's been paid,
Part of
still
it's
coming.
been paid.
Yeah, it'll come out of that Wells Fargo
That's
note.
that's
Yeah.
what that's for, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there's a mosaic of check payments.
Right.
Okay. But I'd like to be in on those financial talks, especially concerning borrowing money.
Well, we had the
I
opportunity.
represent the taxpayer.
We had the opportunity the other day that bond council came, they were with the school district here, and they came by and met us just before lunch one day, and we were just throw random questions at them. And
Well, I'm always available at the drop of a hat. So I hope you guys all have
Well,
my cell phone number.
You got, I think, there was an email I sent that was to you, the auditor, to all the commissioners, that would be an item we would discuss that as part of the 2020 budget.
As far as borrowing money?
Borrowing money, paying off that higher interest rate note, and then looking at that money for covering the proposed remodel at the annex and the elevator situation we have here. And I'm forgetting the third one. So there are some things that we'll look at, and you will be part of those discussions.
Well, I appreciate that, because you don't have to give me a long window of time to show up. Just call me. We're meeting in 5 minutes, Bob. I'll be here. I guess closing out, just give you the last part of the beautification Beecham project. We spent $8.6 million at the end of June. And now we gotta factor in Robin's car, so that'll. I didn't realize she was driving a Mercedes at the time. Any other questions?
Okay, no, sir? Can we have a motion then?
Motion to approve and sign documents.
second.
Any comments, anyone in the audience? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Okay, item number 9, receive an update on the Law Enforcement Center and Amoresco projects.
Law
Commissioner
Enforcement
Beecham.
Center, going through crane inspection as we speak. Crane did not pass inspection on Friday. There was a section of the crane that had been previously welded on. They brought in a new section. They installed it over the weekend. Inspector is on site right now. So we may or may not be sanding walls today. Beyond that, Skills Concrete has gotten ahead of the game over the weekend. They've gone beyond the number of panels poured that we were scheduled to have, so we're actually now a little bit ahead of schedule on the tilt walls. Just getting that crane ready to start standing, but it will happen this week, one day, I don't know when. Everything else on the LEC project, it is going good, although we did have an update on the final schedule number. We're running about 12 days behind on the completion day now.
And that's really not bad like it sounds. That's with 21 bad rain days. So
Yes.
they've caught up on that.
So, yeah, the projected completion date is 12 days later than what originally anticipated. So that's with LEC. As far as Amoresco, they're finishing up all the lighting projects in the courthouse today and tomorrow. We're still working on the air handlers and everything at the annex. We did have a change in scope on the project at the Lindemann building. There were some hazardous dimmers that were not on our original scope. After discussing with them, they decided to add that into the scope to get those replaced for us, so they'll be doing that this week. So that job continues to roll along.
Okay, great. You know, this is almost your meeting today.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the efforts you put into all these little projects, and especially two big ones. Any other comments or questions about those from anyone? Okay, we're down to public comments. Anyone in the audience, if you wish to make a comment, comments are listed to 5 minutes, and the court cannot interact with you on those. They could consider placing it as an agenda item later. Anyone in the audience wish to speak? Okay. Commissioner Beecham, anything for general?
No, I think I've spoken enough so far.
Mr. Harvey?
Well, we have a TIP meeting in Burke Burnett scheduled for noon on Thursday. That's really all I see, other than I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow.
Okay.
Look at my foot.
Is that with a vet or with an MD?
It's not a vet.
Oh, okay.
You gonna pull through?
I'm gonna pull through.
Okay.
He's come up lame, we got to put him down.
Okay, Commissioner Waller, top that.
Can't do that. Just a lot of road work going on in the precinct. Be careful if you're out and about driving. Our guys are at it, trying to get caught up from a wet spring and, mowing and patching and, you know, getting ready to chip seal. So a lot of activity, and they're gonna appreciate a couple of cooler days coming up. So it's been tough on everybody last week or so. So just drive with care when you see those construction zones, and just slow down a little bit, and it sure will help our guys get your job done.
Okay, thanks, sir. Commissioner Watts?
Same thing, a lot of road work in precinct 4 going on right now. Commissioner Beecham, do you, the zipper, is it freed up yet? Do you know?
We've got it.
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Are y'all, what's your schedule with it? Do you know?
I'll check with Jerry, and it depends on what we do, that gets it deal. That's the one we're looking at right now, which is part of the bicycle route. We've got some problems there, so we'll decide over the next, but yeah, I think we've got the project we were working on finished up, so.
Well, Mark, and I think Leon told Brent Catlin it ended up with the rotor tiller
Yeah.
on the back of the tractor, the yellow tractor, you know, and it was locked up. He freed it up. He said that thing really does. I said, it's gonna be a heck of a deal if we have to lease that back to you. We can scar fire that road up where we've got trouble, but
Yeah.
apparently that doesn't grind like a zipper.
No.
It just
No.
pulverizes what you
It's-
turn up in big chunks.
It's really designed to mix, materials, like if you come in with, lime or something
Right.
and spread it, it's more of a mixer.
I see.
It's not as aggressive as a zipper is.
But
It
if
does
you
a good
chunk
job.
the road up with
You
your
can speed up
teeth,
with it,
then,
well, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, and then you go over them with your tracks, you'll break up those bigger things for the most
But
part.
it really is a mixer, is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we're using the zipper this week. We're gonna be out on Quincy tomorrow, helping the city of Wichita Falls with our damage that we did on the road with the jail project.
Right.
So,
Well, and the contractors participating.
yeah, the
That was
contractors
a good move,
participated, yeah. It's a three-way joint effort to repair that road back.
Okay. One of the things we probably ought to look at, driving from South Texas back this Sunday, it's starting to dry up. Everything was unusually green. It's starting to look traditional brown, and we may have to consider that at some point.
And there've been some fires last couple weeks, Judge.
Yes, sir.
We had some structure fires too,
Mm-hmm.
couple out of electric area.
Yep.
There is a
It
tremendous
was a
amount,
busy weekend at Electra for a fire.
tremendous amount of fuel out there right now, so we need to be careful.
The other thing on, you mentioned Hotter Than Hell 100, be sure and coordinate. Commissioner Beecham probably knows that program as well as anybody does in that group because of his long-term involvement with it, so let's try not to. The other thing, Sheriff might mention that those 2 weekends in a row, we have a lot of people in. It's the inmate crew that does the lawn, care around here. Might want to, put an extra, buff up on it and make things look good to our visitors. The last thing is, I came in over the weekend, sat down with the Tyler Group, went through kind of where they are. We look a whole lot better than we did last Wednesday. But we've got 2 weeks to go yet. There's going to be more work, and if people will submit those properly, they will get them in queue, they will get them worked and due. It's not a perfect system yet. We still have a number of problems in the district clerk's area they're working on. Patty, appreciate the effort you all have put into that. We'll get there. I didn't pick up any big issues in the county clerk. The jail screen they're going to set up so people can look there. I got tickled at a comment on rants and raves. The lady was really disappointed that she couldn't download a picture of her ex-husband to show the rest of the family what kind of guy he really was while he was in jail. But I wish we could help her out. I know that would boost the whole family's morale, but
Can't have it.
yeah, we can't. But eventually that will be made available through the portal. They're setting up and creating that to do that.
Good, you might remind everybody about 4:15 in the afternoon, we do our catch-up meeting or just.
Yes, sir. There's a conference call. They put out a number, everybody can call in. And what's good, if people will prepare their list instead of trying to think of their list at that time, because there's a lot of people hanging on and they have things at 5 o'clock they need to go do. And so, a little organization on the individual charts will help that. We do have 2 more items to bring up. One of those, it will be a closed session with counsel with Mr. Robert Davis of Flowers Davis by telephone. That will take place shortly. The second item that was shown as in closed session, Ms. Brumley has requested for that to be an open session. So as soon as we finish the other closed session, we will come back in here, just so everybody will kind of know the rules on that. I will open it with a statement, explain the issue. Then if Ms. Brumley has any witnesses she wishes to present, she can do those. But the people who are going to talk need to be germane to what we're on. They've had that, and it's, at least in my knowledge right now, that's a fairly limited number of people. At the end of everything, before the court takes a final decision on action, we might hear from up to 3 people with any kind of recommendations they might have to the court, but we're not going to wind up having everybody repeat the same thing. So I just wanted people to understand those are the rules of engagement. If there's a question in a line of testimony that's going on, that I call on it. If the court says let's vote on whether to continue or not, that's the court's call, and we'll do that. But we certainly want to be as understanding and open as we can be. Okay, Sheriff.
Judge, can I request that we flip that part of the agenda, do the HR first, since most everybody in the room's here for that, I believe, through the media.
Well, I know the only thing I did, we have a time, Jeff, with him to call that. Was
Between 10:30 and 11. I mean, between 10 and 11, we told him basically.
that won't be a long call.
It's a short call.
It's a short call. I had to do it that way, but that was his availability is what I was thinking. I fully agree with what you're saying, but I don't think the others going to be only a half hour.
There's very limited space outside, there's very lot of eviction things going on both towards there.
Okay, well, we will certainly keep that in mind and try to move through the other quickly. But please give us that bit of room and we'll get everybody back in. Okay, it is 10:33 and we're going into closed session.
We're gonna move down, Judge.
Yeah, let's do that. Turn your microphones off. All right, it's 10:52 and we're back into open session, having been in closed session to visit with counsel. There is no action to be taken out of that. He is going to do some further research. We're going to check one local option here and see what those two things yield. And before any action is taken on that or on item 6. Okay. We're now ready to move into the formerly closed session to deal with the actions the court determine the employment status to continue or not to continue. Ms. Amanda Cameron, HR Director. This issue arose out of an incident where there was an email that was supposedly sent in March that went into a deal of an employee getting FMLA that was reported to the auditor's office. The auditor's office, when they found out the individual was out, they contacted back. Ms. Cameron said, I thought I sent you that. And it took a while for her to locate that. There was a searches done by, I don't see Mr. Crutchfield. Would you call 8552 and ask him to come on up? There was an effort to find the email, and there were two different types of searches done immediately. That didn't seem to yield that. I went back to Mr. Crutchfield and said, you know, that something's not right there. Let's take and do a much more in-depth. Let's go back through everything. That was done again. Meanwhile, this was at Ms. Cameron at that time, Ms. Brumfield now. Brumley, excuse me. I keep wanting to do that. I'm sorry, Amanda. Ms. Brumley, in an effort in her office, found the email, and Ms. Labrie, her clerk, was working in the outer office. She said, hey, I found this, and asked her to come in. Ms. Labrie glanced at it, saw the name and all on there, said, God, boy, that looks like it, but she didn't look at it in detail. When Commissioner Beecham and I had interviewed Ms. Brumley, I got the feeling from that interview there had been much more, this is it, yes, we're in agreement. That doesn't the case, but it was close to 5 o'clock. Ms. Brumley went ahead and forwarded that email to the benefits team. Since then, I had asked for more work to be done to look and let's find that, because what bothered me in this and caused me to ask for the second look, the March 6th email showed the email name of Brumley, not Cameron. The email address was not changed to Brumley until March 12th, and that was verified by IT. All other emails checked in that period also showed Cameron and not Brumley, which gave us to believe there may have been the creation of that document, that it didn't exist when it was purported to have existed in March. That's my opening statement. Mr. Crutchfield's here. If you all would like to hear direct testimony from him, and Ms. Labrie is here also, are the two people I've asked to be available to validate my opening there. Do you?
I'd like them to say first.
You would? Okay, that'd be fine.
Good morning.
Good morning.
to my employment or continued employment, I'd just like to make a statement as to why I believe we are actually here today and directly related to that email as well, if that's all right with the board.
Okay.
Today, I'm both saddened and troubled by this agenda item that it was created and that I must defend my actions as the HR director before this court. I believe this action is nothing more than retaliation for protected conduct. I've objected to actions I believe violate employment laws protecting employees of Wichita County. I believe this action is a blatant attempt to remove me from my position because I engaged in protected conduct. If the county moves forward with this retaliation against me, I believe it will be violating employment laws that protect me from illegal retaliation. Before I address specific allegation made against me related to the email, I need to provide some background context. First, it's well known that over the years, various functions that would traditionally belong to either HR or the Treasury Department have been shifted over to the County Auditor's Office. These include the responsibilities of the employees' benefits and payroll. In removing these items from the departments with the training and expertise to handle them and sending these functions to the Auditor's Office has led to many issues. Sometimes the County Auditor's Office did not have the training or expertise to handle the issues. In other cases, particularly as it relates to employee benefits, the County Auditor's Office has simply not responded to the needs of the employees and has not provided adequate customer service. This has led to some interdepartment tussles when employees have contacted HR for assistance with their employee benefits issues. I've had to advocate for our employees on employee benefit issues such as assisting them with disability forms because they could not get the assistance they needed from the County Auditor's Office. When I did that, I engaged in activities protected by law under both the ADA and FMLA. Yet I have been reprimanded by both the judge and the Auditor's Office when assisting these employees. I was reprimanded for engaging in activities protected by law. This issue came before this court on June 21st of this year, and we were going to try to address a resolution by an agenda item. Yet the agenda item was pulled from the agenda and has not yet been resolved. Instead, the focus has become firing me as fast as possible. So that leads to a particular allegation against me. I believe this particular allegation is a trumped-up charge in retaliation for my protected activity. I believe it's an effort by the county auditor to complete the takeover of the various human resources functions, which is supported by the fact that the very next item is for the court to consider transferring all HR duties to the auditor's office. Let me focus on a specific allegation against me. I've been accused of altering the dates on an email I forwarded to the county auditor's office on May 21st of 2019. So here are the facts. In March of 2019, an employee went on family medical leave. My office typically notifies the auditor when an employee goes out on family medical leave with a courtesy email only. The auditor's office also learns of an employee's family medical leave from the particular department supervisor when the department turns in their timesheets. So the notification again from Human Resources is a courtesy only. I emailed the auditor's office March 7th, telling them that this particular employee was taking family medical leave. The attachment to that email, which was the family medical leave form, has a date stamp from the system that shows it was created on March 6th. That would make sense. On May 21st, I received an email from the auditor's office telling me that it could not find a record of my notifying it that an employee had been out on family medical leave. They asked me to either send them the form or forward the earlier notification. Searched my email system for my earlier notification to the auditor. My assistant Sonia also participated in this search, but could not quickly find this email, and we did not understand why it did not instantly pop up. However, after searching various terms for over 45 minutes, it finally popped up. We forwarded it to the auditor's office. We thought nothing more of it until it became a bigger issue later. I do not understand what I searched for exactly, how we got the email to pop up, but I do know that it did pop up and we forwarded it. I did not alter the email I forwarded to the auditor's office. I'd have no reason to alter the email I forwarded to the auditor's office. Even if I had not found the email, again, I could have just sent the auditor the form at that time as the courtesy. Somehow, this became an issue to my understanding that the auditor's office is claiming it did not know this employee had been on family medical leave from March until May. However, even if the auditor's office had not received a courtesy email from me, it should have been fully aware of the employee's leave time from the timesheet submitted by the employee's department. For some reason, the auditor asked IT to investigate this issue. IT investigated. It could not locate the original March 7th email in my outbox or the inbox of the recipients or in Datacove, and cannot explain why no copy of this email can be found in those locations. IT informed you that it cannot conclusively prove that I falsified the email or disprove it. It also told you it would take a forensic computer exam by a licensed forensic computer examiner to reach a definitive conclusion. Becca Skupin in the DA's office was also asked to look into this matter. She did so. In her summary, she summarized her actions and what she told the court the same thing in her June 12th email. In that summary, Becca noted that even Deb Stevens told Becca that Deb's legal counsel on her own did not believe Deb had proof that the email had been faked. So to my knowledge, no forensic examination has been conducted. However, there are some other important facts to remember. IT was in my system creating a new profile for me between February 15th and March 12th. Because I'm married, I changed my last name. IT had to create a new profile for me and then try to merge the two profiles. This did not go smoothly. In the same time period, other documents went missing, which this court is fully aware. IT still cannot explain why other documents went missing and why those documents cannot be located in Datacove either. The most important of these other missing documents was a working copy of the county's policy manual. It disappeared. IT could not explain why. The HR policy manual was definitely on the system before this work was done, and then it was not. Fortunately, I located an old copy elsewhere. We've been able to work on the personnel policy manual. However, that the policy manual went missing is important because it shows that the March 7th missing email is not the only item IT cannot locate and cannot explain why it cannot be located. I don't know what happened with the March 7th email, but number one, I do know that I did not alter the email when I forwarded it to the auditor, and number two, I would have absolutely no reason for doing so. I believe that I am the victim of retaliation because I've been trying to assist our employees with their disability claims when the auditor's office has failed to timely do so. I've been reprimanded by both for doing this. I've been told to stop helping these employees because benefits falls under the auditor's office. Essentially, I've been punished for helping our employees protected by the ADA. I believe that there are people here who want to use this mystery about this email as a pretext to fire me. When I assist employees with their disability benefit claims or family medical leave, I am engaging in activity that is protected by law. I believe if I'm fired for doing so, then I've been retaliated against in violation of the ADA and FMLA. Above and beyond these issues, the manner in which this investigation has been conducted and the manner in which this has been set for an agenda item has been further retaliation. Please recall it was June 21st that the issue of the auditor's office failing to timely assist employees with disability claims issues was brought before this court, and there was a discussion on whether some of those efforts and responsibilities should be sent back to Human Resources. Just weeks later, July 11th, I was called to a meeting with the judge and told that in that meeting that I was accused of falsification of government records. I was told the county needed to interview an additional witness before deciding what would happen next. The witness was on family medical leave and was scheduled to return on July 15th. However, that witness ultimately needed to extend her family medical leave and provided doctor's certification extending her leave. The judge sent an email requesting additional information about why this witness's family medical leave was extended and requested information I could not legally provide to him. I objected to providing the information requested as I could not legally do so. Just a day or two after I objected to being asked to violate family medical leave, I was notified that the subject of my termination was now on the agenda for July 22nd. Even though the witness they were originally waiting to interview had not yet been interviewed. This timeline shows additional efforts to retaliate against me for my protected conduct because the county has apparently decided as to what it wants to do without receiving full information. The county chose to put the issue of my termination on the agenda before it interviewed the key witness, my assistant. It fully knows that other documents have gone missing from my computer and Datacove, and that IT cannot locate the documents nor explain why those documents cannot be located. This has not been investigated. It has not, to my knowledge, had a computer forensic person conduct a full examination. So as I said in the beginning, I'm saddened and troubled by the actions of the county here. I respect the members of this court, and I believe that you can look at these facts and recognize that terminating me is not appropriate and refuse to do so. Thank you.
Okay, let me clarify a couple of things. The interview was made prior to the agenda. That was last Thursday.
The interview,
The interview with Sonia was prior.
the day after the meeting with you, where you told me it was on the agenda.
I told you it would be on the agenda.
Correct. You had told me
Okay,
it would be on the agenda before you interviewed Sonia.
okay.
Yes.
But there was nothing in that interview changed that plan, but those aren't posted. And as you said earlier, some item was pulled. Any member of this court, I'm the chair, I'm the presiding officer. When they submit something, that if they want to talk about pink tigers, it goes on the agenda. So whatever member had it on and pulled it, that's up to them. I don't pull anybody's agenda item.
Well, that's not my understanding of how this.
Well, obviously you got it wrong. Now, the other thing the things you cited, I want to go ahead and have Mr. Crutchfield address those. He gave it, and you were given a copy of his report.
Correct. I have both. I have Becca's and I have his as well.
Okay. Would you like to have Ms. Gupkin speak? Is that what you're asking, or is that?
Is it possible for me to ask Ms. Scoop a couple of questions?
Ask her?
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing I'd like to point out too, which Becca can attest to, is the fact that Becca's investigation into this was done towards the beginning of June. That's when she finished looking into all of this. She finished looking into it, provided, from what I understand, the judge and Commissioner Beecham and everyone kind of, I don't know if it was a verbal report or a physical report, that she talked with IT, she talked with me, and it was basically inconclusive. She couldn't prove whether anything happened, she couldn't prove anything whether it didn't happen. However, I believe it was the same day, possibly the next day, Becca had talked to the judge, was asked to come to a meeting in the afternoon with the judge and Ms. Stevens to basically describe her findings again. She arrives at the meeting, the judge is not present. Deb Stevens and some others from the auditor's office are, and also Commissioner Watts, who in no way is over, I mean, I understand I'm a employee of the Commissioner's Court, but day-to-day supervision, no offense to you, Jeff, whatsoever, but is not one of the people who oversees the duties of the Human Resources Office as a regular day-to-day process. That would be Commissioner Beecham. Commissioner Beecham was not even made aware of the fact that this meeting was going on. Generally, when you're going to have some sort of investigation into an employee, just for anybody who does not understand this process, if you're going to have an investigation into an employee, you would generally have that employee's supervisor, unless they're related to the issue, in on a meeting to discuss issues with that employee. Commissioner Beecham wasn't even informed of this meeting that was going to happen. So Becca attends the meeting, a statement that Becca had written about the events of that meeting. Just a couple of things I'm going to mention, and you can verify for me, I guess. During that meeting, she arrives, Commissioner Watts is there, some people from the auditor's office, including Ms. Stevens, are there. Basically, she told everybody the same thing she had the day before, that she spoke to IT, she spoke to me, she couldn't find any evidence, any way to substantiate whether the email had been fabricated or not. When she spoke with Mr. Crutchfield, he told her that there's no evidence of the original email, but according to Ashley, the PDF that would have been attached to that original email was dated March 6th. That's a system timestamp. That's not something that can just be edited by anyone. It's dated. That is the day that it was sent out to the employee, and I can verify that the employee did receive their legal Department of Labor form stating that they're on family medical leave. Anyway, all of that so far sounds correct?
Yes, so
Okay.
my involvement was June 11th and June 12th. I was asked to look into it, to the email issue with Gotham, to you, I spoke to IT, and I spoke to Judge Gotham. And then essentially my findings were that it was inconclusive, and that's the extent of my involvement. After after this meeting with Deb and Commissioner Watts and several of her fellow auditors, that's the extent of my involvement. After that meeting, I was not further involved in this issue.
Okay, so the DA's office was not involved in any further investigation whatsoever after June 12th?
I was not involved. My understanding is that possibly Meredith and John Gillespie were involved in further issues, but I was not involved in that.
Okay.
Okay.
One other thing I need to point out in the bottom of your statement that you made, you said during that conversation and during that meeting, you did tell them there wasn't really anything more you could do to look into it, barring some sort of forensic investigation into the email issue. Commissioner Watts asked about the email itself, and you told him that you didn't believe that falsifying the email was an actual crime, but they would actually have to talk to the criminal side of the office to find out more on that. Also, in that meeting, you asked Deb what was the point of faking an email, and Deb's words to you were, Amanda screwed up and she was covering her tracks.
Yes.
Okay. Also, you told her that you couldn't prove that, but that is well known that the auditor's office, the HR office don't go on.
Yes.
Also, Deb said to you that she believed her auditors felt they had proof the email was faked, but that even her legal counsel disagreed.
She was referring to me in that.
Okay. Okay. And you confirmed that you disagreed, and that was the end of it?
Yes. That was it for my good.
Okay. Anyone else?
I guess as much, and unfortunately, it was put me on the spot, but if there's anything you want to say about the process of that office or the way things work, or how we handle family medical leave, or
Can I stay where I'm at?
You can stay right there.
You can say that.
Just hang on to it.
Our office flows constant.
I want to be sure with that attorney sitting there, we give her all the latitude we can.
And setting appointments. My phone rings constant. Anytime I have an issue that I can't resolve, or it goes above my position, I send it on to Amanda. Amanda's good to take care of that. I'd like to go back to the part where she was talking about the system being messed up and them having lost stuff. Before any of this even took place, she made me aware that they had that the system had lost some things in the process of switching over from Cameron to Grumling. So, and I will say, there is no benefit to alter that email. I don't know what benefit they're thinking it would be, but there was no benefit. And anytime Amanda has ever made an error in the past, then she's always said, I'm sorry in the email. She'll send it, I'm sorry, I messed up, I thought I sent this, and I guess I got sidetracked or whatever. So she's always good to do that. I don't know why in this particular email that's in question, she wouldn't have done that if that was the case. So I don't believe that she's altered it.
Okay, but you didn't,
But I did not witness. I mean, I
Okay.
was in and out of offices. I don't feel like she would have had enough time to alter it, but I was gone a split second.
well, unless it was already there.
I don't see any kind of an advantage for her to have done that.
That's for everybody's wonderment, but that's not the issue. The issue is here whether we believe that email was falsified.
But she did make it aware to me prior to all of this taking place that there were issues in transferring from Cameron to Brumley, that things had been lost.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions, member of the court? Okay, thank you.
The only other person I was going to have speak, and it's not this email specifically, but it's regarding the family medical leave emails that are sent and what's contained in them and type of information basically that's even exchanged between the offices. I do have somebody who's directly involved in those as well.
Okay, but if it's not related to this email, I'm kind of having a little trouble with that. I mean,
It literally just has to do with the fact that this is a courtesy email. It's not a document. It's not anything with any information whatsoever that helps any other office. It's literally just a person's name and a date that the person's gonna go on family medical leave. And I have multiple examples that I've sent the auditors things. If someone applies for family medical leave in February, we process it in February. They may not be actually going on leave until May or June. But as soon as I get it, my job is to notify them whether they're even eligible for it. I do the form, we send it out to the employee, we send the email to the auditor's office, just heads up, so-and-so's gonna be on family medical leave on this date. I have multiple examples that I've actually saved and copied of times that I've sent them to the auditor's office, say in February, and the person goes on family medical leave in May, and I get an email saying, we never received this. So I forward them the exact same email and say, all right, here you go, so that they're notified that the person's on family medical leave. My big question here is, for one thing, why would I do something like this? Because there is no benefit to me whatsoever. Linda's email to me actually asked either send us the form or forward us the original email. Could have turned around and sent her the form. There have been other times where I've had drafts stuck in my draft box, getting ready to send family medical leave. I have one that I sent to them a couple of months ago. I sent it with 5 employees' information in it, just saying, this person, these people are getting ready to go on family medical leave, I apologize, but this was in my draft box. Like Sonia was saying, if I had screwed up, I have no problem telling them, sorry. And that was one that had sat in my draft box for 2 weeks. And I forwarded it over, apologizing for the fact that there was a delay, even though these people were not yet on family medical leave.
why wouldn't you have gone back simply that other email that appears in everybody's search that went to the employee that said the family, why not just have forwarded that one instead of hunting for one?
I don't email them to the employee. They get mailed out with a whole packet of information. But this employee in particular in question actually was emailing me every 2 weeks to remind, or to check in and let me know if he's still on family medical leave, So I know that he got his packet from me.
Okay. You made a couple other statements. You said traditionally these items, the actual HR office and all of the payroll and benefit functions when I came here in 1989 existed in the auditor's office. So, I mean, it's not unusual for those functions to reside in the auditor's office in this county or in others.
I'll say in other counties, most county HR directors that I've spoken to, it absolutely baffles them that we have our payroll, the auditing of our payroll, the auditing of everything else with the county, and all of our benefits under one roof. That just raises all sorts of flags to lots of other counties. They don't understand how that's even possible to be done.
Well, like I say, it's been done. It's been that we changed it,
But just
and we're not the only ones that have done that.
Just before I came to the HR officer, right about that time, is when benefits was absorbed, when payroll was absorbed, and now this is just a pattern of what other office is there for them to absorb? The Human Resources Office.
Okay. Wonder what, the interesting thing, you found it on May 21st. No one else has been able to locate that document.
We have no idea how we got it, where it came from, if it just pulled out of my box and maybe never actually was received by them. I can't verify it did. I didn't have a read receipt or a delivery receipt.
But we spent nearly an hour in your office on your computer trying to go back and find
Correct.
that document.
Correct.
Okay. Anyone else you want to have?
Those are just the 3 main people. I mean, I would ask that if anybody else would like to speak on the matter as far as public comments go.
Okay, we'll deal with that at the appropriate time. Mr. Crutchfield, would you come and go over what you presented and walk through that, please, sir?
Well, I was asked to see if I could find the original email. We have a couple of systems in place. The Exchange server itself keeps logs of all emails sent and received. The data code keeps a copy of all emails sent and received throughout the county. I was unable to find the original email that, sent to the auditor's office. We found the one where you sent to the person that was on FMLA on March 6th or 7th.
Found the document.
Found that with attachment going to him, never found anything, did not find anything, going to the auditor's office. Then it, came back around with the from address on the email that you had found of Amanda, Brumley Amanda, instead of what I think during that time frame should have still been Cameron. Can't explain why. As I've recommended before, and believe I've talked to you, Judge, to go further, we need, I recommend computer forensics personnel come in here and take a look at it. I've done, with the tools I have, I can't definitely say that the email exists.
Okay. And the date, the email address was changed from Amanda.Cameron to Amanda.Brumley was?
On the data code, the first email that I could find going to Amanda.Brumley was around the, I think, 12th or 13th of March. That's when that change was actually made.
And that day of all the emails sent, there was no other one showing Brumley, other than in the signature block,
None that I could find. No.
which the signature block change can be done by
At any
the
time,
user.
that's a setting in the Outlook client itself.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the from the to address.
Okay.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Yes.
The statement that I was just reading the pieces on, of the Becca made when she did her investigation, both you and Ashley, and you'd already both sent it to me as well, which of course I didn't write a statement on, but Becca did, said that it really didn't surprise anybody that I've got emails from both around that time period, around that week or so, that it was finally being changed over because of how complicated it was. I know Ashley had originally tried to create a new profile, that wasn't going to work. Because of how much I had saved, she said she had to find a way to merge the two, because she had to make sure that I didn't lose emails, I didn't lose documents, I didn't lose anything like that, because of over 7 years of employment for the county, 5 of that in the Human Resources Office, that there's a lot of information I may at one time need to go back, or may sometime have to go back and get information out of, or pull information out. The statement was made to both of them. It didn't surprise because of the issues with the transfer over, that if there was emails from both coming right around that time.
Possible. I mean, email's a funny thing, and when there's large amounts of email kept in a PST file or archive folders, and switching out of electronic components, as we do with computers, there's been cases where emails, in PST files came up missing. But this is not a PST file. It should have been on the system. I don't know, I can't explain it.
All right, the other question is, I know Ashley was aware, and I know at one time you were aware, that the policy manual that I've been working on, that Becca and I had basically up, ready for the last few edits from another office to be added to it, then renumbered and would be done. About that same time is when I told Ashley that policy manual's gone. I can't find it anywhere. It's not in file server, it's not on my desktop, it's not anywhere. I know she did some looking into it, basically just came back to me and kind of went, I don't know. So I got with Becca, we did all the updates again, and got everything up to where we had it before. Has anybody been asked to even look into any further where that went? The county policy manual has been completely disregarded, and yet they focus completely on an email that they don't think they received or doesn't make sense.
Well, you were asked about that, and you said you all had recovered it and had brought it up to date, so there seemed to be,
We didn't recover the same one.
you brought what you had up to date.
Correct.
Okay. Now, I'd have to go back and ask you in good procedures why that wasn't saved somewhere like on a Z drive or somewhere else like that it was just residing on your computer. But back to this germane issue, it's hard to understand why an email appeared only one moment in time on May 21st in your computer only and wasn't anywhere else. Because we'd gone past the changeover period. We were months past that. And then this other email, which has a address on it that didn't exist at the date it was sent in March.
I honestly don't know. I know that she had tried to create a separate profile and tried to have that set up that way, actually had, and then that wasn't working. And so it was a way of creating a profile that could be merged with the other one, or how, creating two that could be merged together to make sure that the email address was correct. So I have no idea if the email address had been up and then not working, pulled back down because that wasn't gonna work because the files couldn't be transferred. I have no idea. I don't know the IT side of things. I don't know how that works.
That's a interesting question. If there were,
Is it
if there
possible?
was a profile at one point in time that was made and found not to work, not to function, and was done away with,
But there are no other emails that.
no, I understand that.
Yeah,
I
no.
understand, but
They were working on the transfer of my profile from
But
February
we
15th
have-
until March 12th.
But that wasn't, yeah, but they didn't work on that until Cody worked on it in March 12th, 11th, and 13th.
Not from conversations with her, actually. She started getting into my system, trying to fix it towards the end of February. It didn't work, and it was finalized. till the
Okay,
end.
so it didn't work.
if Ashley's the one that created the
The
profiles, I think
transfer
we
is
need to
what was
speak
not
with
working.
Ashley.
I'm sorry, say that
I
again.
said, if Ashley's the one that created the profiles and said, if she has said that there were other profiles that were created and did not work, I think we need to ask those questions of Ashley.
She downstairs.
Yes, sir, she was.
Okay. Would you ask her to come on up here? I'm not sure. I think I know who she is, but I'm not sure. Thank you. Go ahead and say again what you said that would evoke her testimony.
Discussing the fact that the focus keeps being put on the fact that my profile wasn't finished being changed over until March 12th. But I put in the ticket back at the beginning, like middle of February. You and I had several discussions, I know, over the phone, not by email, just about the fact that, then to make sure that everything moved. You can just create a profile and start from there. That you have to create one, and not sure just doing that, or if it would have to be, I don't know how you guys do it, so, or if one would have to be.
Ashley, would you explain in your own words for us, please?
Yeah.
Yes. So when she changed her name, she put in a ticket to move the profile to her new last name. And that it takes several steps. And with her profile being as big as it is and email box being as big, we kind of did it in different phases. So she was always busy when we tried to do the profile. So the first step we did was to change her actual name for her login and change her name for her email address. So when we changed her name for her email address, we actually left both emails active in there where she could receive from Cameron and Brumley at the same time.
Right.
And then, I guess weeks later, I honestly don't know without having it in front of me time-wise, but I then set up a time with her to say, okay, let's do your actual profile, which means that once she logged in, the profile had to take effect, and we had to change the name on the folder, and it's kind of a big ordeal. And then probably, I think she ran with it for like 2 or 3 days like that, and then stuff just disappeared off of her desktop. Like, she had a policy manual that she had been actively working on. There were like 2 other things on her desktop that were there, and then just lo and behold, they were gone. That does happen sometimes, like it'll create a temporary profile, but I can always log in as me and go in and see the original profile, and I can always find the documents and fix it. It didn't create her a temporary profile. I couldn't find them anywhere. They weren't recycle bin, they weren't, I never could give her an answer, and I never could find them.
Do we have a date on when that?
That was right towards the end of when she was.
Could I
changing
ask her to
profile.
answer that?
I would have to look through my ticket details. We put all that stuff in there, time frame wise, honestly.
Yeah, I'd like to see the date on when we noted that the HR manual was missing.
But would have anything have created a one-time Amanda Brumley on March 7th? That's the only email we have showing that email address. I mean,
I couldn't say either way. The whole situation didn't really make a lot of sense.
because we have it from, that Cody didn't make that change until that was in process on the 12th and 13th, which is easily a week after that.
Well, but I think the email address, actually adding her additional name, the Brumley, was done before that. It just, we worked on that throughout that time.
So you had 2 profiles
She had 2
at the
active
same
email
time.
accounts, yeah. And now, as far as dates, I would have to look.
There was an email after the alleged falsified email where I believe it came from Amanda showing a test of her new email,
Yes.
but you're
I
saying
think
that
was when- I think that was when we were actively working on it.
working on the entire,
Yeah, and then also, you know, she had her phone also. So that threw another piece in it. The phone doesn't, just because I changed it, that doesn't always take effect immediately on the phone. Just like when you reset your password for your CAN email on your phone, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. So there was just a bunch of moving pieces.
so you're saying there were two profiles actively working, possibly, potentially,
Well, not 2 profiles, but both email addresses. were
both
correct.
email addresses were already in existence at the
Yes.
time of,
And that's a normal practice that we do. We leave the original one and we put the new one, so that way if anyone does email the old one, it will still come to the new address.
why would no email from Amanda Brumley show up until a few days later? Why are we I have record of,
So even though both of them are in there, you can actually set one as priority. So you can make it where that's the one that you get when you reply from. You know, we all have hands in that, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't begin to tell you exactly, without looking over the ticket and seeing what notes were there and the dates and the times. I know that, you know, I worked on it, Cody Bradley worked on it, you know, I was the one who helped her with her profile and finally finished moving the other pieces.
so multiple hands over multiple weeks had touched,
Yes.
okay.
I was the one that finished it up because I was working with her to actually get her profile the rest of the way configured, so we could actually close the ticket out. And she was just always so busy, we couldn't hook up.
Ashley, in your professional opinion, was the email sent to Deb Stevens that day fabricated? I need a yes or no answer. In your opinion, do you think it was fabricated? Can you substantiate that in any way?
I didn't see that, no.
Thank you.
But you also didn't see it the other way. I mean, what you're saying, despite the commissioner asking you for a yes or no, I think you went more, I don't have enough information to say yes or no. Is that,
At first look of it, no, it did not at all.
What would make you think in your mind one way or the other? What would you look for?
The thing that doesn't make any sense to me is the emails, you know, at some point you could, in this entire time that I've been doing this for as long as I have, usually there's always some rhyme or reason or a way to find it if it's missing. And we never could, it never made any sense. But as I stand here and say that, keep in mind, I just told you that I couldn't find those documents on our profile.
Right.
So I don't know what happened. It was strange, and I should have been able to find those documents. So I don't know.
but what's hard to then fathom is why did it appear for one moment on May 21st?
It could have totally been, like I said, you've got several moving pieces. You had multiple email addresses, you had the phone, you had,
Okay, that's way away from that changeover. March is when you were doing all that. This is May 21st that she found at near 5 o'clock in the afternoon, found this, and then forwarded it. So we're totally outside of that window. But no one since then, in efforts of George, Commissioner Beecham, me, Amanda in her office trying to find that, couldn't find anything. A search on both systems to find it anywhere since then has not been productive. That's what I'm having a hard time following.
when I looked for it, and her and I were looking at it, one thing that didn't make any sense to me was the attachment had the date that it was sent. And
Date it
that-
was sent to who?
To the auditor.
Okay, explain.
So when you attach and you actually start going through and looking, the attachment will show you the original day and time that the document was attached. And as far as I know, you can't change that. It's like a timestamp.
So it, showing the date it was sent to the auditor, and we're confident that it's showing the date it's sent to the auditor, not just sent randomly
I'm
to
pretty sure it was,
another email.
I'm pretty sure it was the date to the auditor,
Okay.
because that's how we were
I
finding.
mean, that's information that we're not aware of.
That
Well,
was the piece that
when George created it, showed us how that could be done. He put all that same information, just looked like that with the dates on there and time and everything.
That was with the email, Judge.
That's the
Yeah.
email.
Yeah, yes, you can do
Okay,
that. You can
yeah.
absolutely do a forward and change the to and the from and the time. You can edit all that, but when there's a gray timestamp on top of a document when it's attached, when you forward something, and you can't change that.
Okay.
You'd have to be pretty handy with Adobe and to fabricate that. That was the part that didn't make any sense to
Okay, well, that's,
Okay, so what was that date? I mean,
Don't have it in
give
front
me
of
mine
you.
here.
yeah.
I would have to
all
look.
right, when you were doing all that investigation, I remember you telling me that there are times where Data Cove is not accurate, that we have lost emails on Data Cove before, is
It's
that?
not losing emails, no, but sometimes we've had issues with it. If this was one of those days, I don't think so. I mean, I believe George ran other emails.
Yeah,
while he
and
was
we,
able to
we've
get-
been very thorough trying to
Right.
find this email,
Yeah,
this
no, I
phantom
mean,
email.
we've had, I mean, of course, we have had things in the past with it, but I think that George made sure that it wasn't the issue that day.
But you're saying that the attachment,
Yeah, the actual document that she,
I would like to see that shown, I mean, you're saying it, I wanna see it in black and white.
I would have to have that file that she has, because that's what I saw on was the original email that she showed me in Outlook.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute.
We're calling,
Well, the
I almost
attachment,
need a timeline here because I'm going back and
well,
forth.
she's saying the attachment was actually sent, and it's date timestamp that cannot be changed in the system,
Yes, that was what
That-
threw me through a loop the entire time.
then,
And that date was consistent with the original email. I don't
Well,
care what date
I
was.
thought Amanda
Right.
reported that date to be March the 6th. Did you not,
March
Amanda?
7th.
March sixth is when it was created. That's the.
I thought you
actual-
said that was the timestamp on the document.
That was the timestamp of the creation of the document. That doesn't have anything to do with the attachment. I don't even know where they get that information, so.
But wasn't that the same document that was sent to the employee?
It is the same document that would.
Okay, so that day, we don't have any question about that email having been sent.
I don't email it to the employee. I mail it to the employee.
I think that's twice she's told us that.
Yeah, but then we also had, as George said there, I think you said there was one sent to the employee with that. Yeah,
On the 6 or 7, yes, sir.
yeah. So that document would have been created then as an attachment. So it could be there from that, not from,
I did coordinate with that employee a lot at the time because it was one of those, I believe at the time it was either already gone on family medical leave, so it was asking for it after the fact, or it's complicated medical thing, but, I'm not sure, I've got a lot of emails to and from that employee since, all the way up until he left at the end of May. Just check-ins from family medical leave or coordination with that employee, so I can't say whether that email that George is talking about wasn't one of those, or if it was that one, I don't know. I don't normally send them to the employee unless they request me to email it.
Well, I think the point is that Ashley was looking at the email that went to the auditor when she opened the attachment and saw the time date. So that's your answer. It wasn't to the employee, it was to the auditor's office benefit.
yeah, I mean,
Is that correct?
I'd like to see that in black and white, rather than, I mean, we've been exhaustive in this search for emails and answers on this, and to stop short when we have additional information, we need that information.
That's what, like I said, that's what I didn't understand the whole time is,
Yeah.
that we had this email that disappeared with, the timestamp,
'Cause-
the document attached, so it
Do you just need access from computer?
Does that timestamp, if I've got a document in my computer and I send Jeff an email and I attach that document today, that's still there, and that is date stamped, that document that went with it?
Yes, to that, the email that you sent him,
Okay, and then if I send it to the judge tomorrow,
you can't edit.
you can't edit that,
You can't edit that piece.
but would it restamp?
It would still appear there, yes. Even if the document isn't there, like, you know how when you reply,
Yeah,
it doesn't include the attachment, but it will
Right.
tell you that there was an attachment.
Right.
There's a timestamp on there about when that attachment was.
well, it'll let you pull it up, won't it? Don't you get to choose?
No, Now, if you.
No, you get to
forward-
choose whether you want to forward it, I
If you
guess is,
forward it,
yeah,
then
okay.
it will include the original attachment. But if you reply, it'll just say, hey, there was an attachment here, the blah, 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 this thing.
But if I had a document and I sent it to 2 or 3 different people on a different day, it would date stamp that document attached to that email, not the file I had the document in on my computer. In other words, I pulled it, okay. It attaches it to that, and that's when it stamps it, okay, all right.
Yeah, it doesn't care about when you
Yeah.
made it.
So when an attachment's forwarded, the original creation date stays with it, no matter whether that was a month later or you forward that document or not.
Not creation date of the document, but when the document was attached to the email.
The attachment date.
Yeah,
Yeah, the attachment date to the email.
okay.
Yes.
So when you forwarded the document on May 21st, did it have the attachment with it then?
Yes.
Okay, because that wasn't printed off in the materials here. Okay. How long would it take you to verify the things we've talked about?
Like, do you want me to do it today?
Well, I know you got just a small other project underway.
You ain't got anything else going on now.
Just take it out.
Piece of cake, huh?
I think this would take precedence.
Yeah,
over
this
that.
is,
Okay, at least a couple hours,
Okay,
just to make sure I have.
okay, so with 3 o'clock, and see if you then go back to the 21st
Yeah.
and see if that attachment's on there also.
This has been a really long time ago.
Huh?
Yeah.
So would you not need to use, her
Yes, I need
computer?
her computer.
Okay.
Yeah,
She can just write it down.
okay.
You just don't, you can't just use it at her station. Does she need to move the computer?
I have a laptop.
She can
Yeah.
move
Oh,
it.
it's a laptop?
Laptop,
or I
yeah.
can
Simple
do
enough.
it. It's
Yeah.
probably faster if I have it. in
So,
front of me.
well, I think it's important to understand all the evidence before we make a decision and be fully informed.
Okay. I can do that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll plan on reconvening this at 3 o'clock. That'll give her time to do that. We have another presentation at 1:30, so the court will come back in then.
For anybody that may have been here to speak in any way, is there any way that they can be allowed to speak so that
Yes,
anybody else who has
No,
anything else?
no,
to
that'd
go
be
to
fine.
or attend?
that'd be fine.
At least relate that to the little field.
Okay, do you have someone else here you want?
I don't know if anybody else, as far as who showed up today, wants to speak on, in any way, shape, or form.
Well, they have not
Okay.
identified themselves as so we can assume that there are any.
There's only one other person I'd like to speak.
Okay,
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Fitzgerald, and I'm Amanda Brumley's attorney. I work for the law firm of Johnston, Toby, Baruch in Dallas, Texas, and I'm board certified in labor and employment law. However, I'm here to talk to you in my capacity as a private citizen today. Based on what we've heard so far, I actually commend you for trying to get additional information before moving forward with your decision. I was troubled by the fact before that even Mr. Crutchfield had recommended that the commissioners obtain a forensic exam, that he had exhausted all of the tools available to him, and that he recommended that a licensed computer forensic person review the system to determine what happened. I'm glad you're getting additional detail, but I still think it would be prudent for the commissioners to obtain a forensic computer review of the system before moving forward with a decision that would essentially destroy someone's career. The facts, as you've seen it, she's accused of altering an email that simply would be a courtesy email. As you know, it just makes no sense for her to alter it because all she needed to do when she was asked for the information was simply forward the form. And as they've noted, the main problem and accusation against her is that it popped up this one time and it hasn't been able to be located since. But the information and testimony you've troubling to destroy her career at a time when there's no explanation for why the other documents went astray. And as Ms. Brumley pointed out, the timing of the investigation compared with her protected activity as it relates to issues involving employees' disability forms and her assisting those create a lot of concern about retaliation. So I'm actually glad that you're reconvening at 3 to get additional information. Of course, there won't be a licensed computer forensic review before 3 p.m., but I would certainly urge you to take that step before you terminate an employee and destroy her career based on something that's just a mystery when we already know multiple other documents from her computer have gone missing. That's all I want to say.
Let me ask you this. You can answer it as friend or as attorney, and we're glad you're here. Thank you. Can you, and the reason not to go that extra step was simply the information seemed in a logical mind. I agree with her. I couldn't figure out a reason she did that. But we've got 2 buildings in this county that have people confined in them that can't figure out why they did something either. So, you kind of have to say, sometimes people do something when they don't need to. And so, because the other information in a logical mind looks pretty convincing.
Well, except for the fact, Judge, I think you're ignoring the fact that other things have gone missing from her computer that IT has not been able to locate or explain. They're not in data code, they just aren't showing up anywhere where they should be, and Ashley just confirmed that.
Right, but then how did we go this long and that document shows up on May 21st to never be seen again?
Right, and I'm not an IT person.
Okay.
That's why you would need a computer forensic person to explain how that happens. As Mr. Crutchfield said, he exhausted the tools available to him.
Yes.
There are tools beyond what he has available that may answer that question.
Okay. Now, the court has 3 decisions it can do. One is to say, well, 4. We can say we'll get the forensic interview before we take any final action. Second would be to say we don't feel like there's enough here to go ahead and take action. Third would be then to terminate for cause or to terminate number 4 at will. And, I'm not a fan of at will. I think if you ask someone to no longer be employed, I like to have a reason. But that has been done in cases where that seemed to be the best for all parties concerned. But that will be for the court to look at and deliberate this afternoon after we get Mrs. Cully's report. Okay, thank you. Will you be able to stay, or?
I will be able to.
Okay, thank you. All right. It's 11:55, and we will recess to reconvene at 3 p.m. I'm sorry, 1:30. 3 p.m. for this, 1:30 for the presentation we have scheduled.
Is that the
Commissioners Court back to order. And we had asked for the IT personnel to do a research on information. Ms. Cully, are you ready to present what you've got?
Yes,
Do you have a copy of that for Amanda also? Very good, thanks.
two more emails. Okay, so, I went and got Amanda's computer and, went into her email and pulled up the forwarded original email that you have, which is this one here. It's the first copy I sent you. I did mark out the
Okay.
name on here.
Okay, very good.
So this is a screenshot from the server of when she actually created the document itself, the physical document. So she did that on the 6th. And then the next one is a screenshot of what I was telling you about the timestamp that is in the Outlook. And so that timestamp of Wednesday, March sixth is when the document was attached to the original email that is here.
So that email was, then, that would be verification that email was created on March the
That is when the
sixth.
document was
Attached to that email, not May 21st.
Well,
And how do you know actually that document was attached to that particular email and not the employee's email? If there was a document created and attached to an email, how do we know which email it was attached to?
Because I did the timestamp off of the email.
Oh, the email received by the auditor.
If it would have been attached on May the 21st, this would say it was attached on May 21st, not March, whatever,
March the sixth.
March the 6th.
Because the email that it was attached was the March the seventh.
Okay.
But what does March 6 indicate?
I would assume that when she created it, because she actually, the email in question that's lost was March the seventh is when it was supposedly sent. Is that correct?
Yeah, according,
Back.
I thought there, yeah, March the 7th at 9:46 a.m.
So from the timestamps of everything, I would assume she created the document March the sixth between 2 and 2:20, somewhere in there.
Does that mean that it was never sent, or could it
No,
have
that's
been
just when
held?
she created it. Now,
Could it-
I mean, I do this all the time. I can't speak for her. You'll have to ask her. But
No,
you
but
could very well have created the email and attached it, and then
just left it in the draft box,
I do that all
or?
the time. Sometimes it takes me a day to get an email sent. I don't know. But that's the timestamps. She created it on the sixth, and then created the email and attached it on the sixth, and then sent it at 9:46.
Well, do we have an email from, that was created to the employee on a particular day? Was he sent an email with this attachment on it? Did y'all look at that?
I was asked to look at the one that I saw.
right,
But
but
I
I think Mr. Crutchfield has that
He
answer.
was sent on the sixth, he was sent an email with the blank FMLA, asking that he fill it out and return it to the HR.
Was it returned to him?
Not via email, not that I could tell.
Okay, was that the same attachment as we're talking about here? Because we're not seeing the attachment, we're seeing just the documentation, correct?
The attachment is at the top.
Oh,
Where you see attachment, it tells you that was the name of the document.
yes, but did you,
It's, the document that is timestamped here is the completed form, like it was scanned in or typed up. It's not the blank form that,
was sent?
in on the sixth. No, sir. It has the information on there.
So it was created on March 6th, modified on March 6th, then accessed on March 6th, all at 2/17/34. And it's the same document that's here that was attached to an email on March 6th, but we don't know if that was ever actually sent at that point. But it was attached to an email
Yes.
that we can't find on Data Code or anywhere else in those.
Would you find it on Data Cove if it was parked in her drafts?
But so I'm assuming that, Amanda, you sent an email to this employee and he then filled it out and brought it straight back to you the same day?
Yes, sir, and I don't know if Meredith came out or not, but basically what it was is, it was a last minute thing. It was emails back and forth from Meredith asking me if the employee had contacted me or the supervisor had contacted me. I believe, just off of memory, that the employee was already gone, out on family medical leave or out on medical. I was being told after the fact, which happens a lot. If there's especially something major happened to your wife or something like that, you'd be out before I even knew that the person needs to be out on family medical leave. That was the email that was sent to the employee, was get this filled out and get it right back to me. The way it is I get it back as a paper copy, and I believe I'd have to pull the form itself, but I don't think the employee actually signed it. I believe the supervisor signed it on behalf because the employee was already gone and couldn't deal with it at that point. So I got emails to and from Meredith back and forth are like within 24 hours. So from the time I was notified to the time I got the form, or sent the email to the employee, got the form back from that office, got this created and got it attached. It's not unlike me to type an email at 2:40 in the afternoon, so you can attest that things pop up at random times there, and sometimes I've got an email up that I'm drafting that I never get back to that actual day. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen, that maybe I've got, okay, we created the form, Sonia helps me with those, creating the forms, attach it to an email, get ready to send it to benefits, because she's gonna put it out in the mail to the employee that day. But I don't know, we've got a lot of stuff going on over this year. We've really upped the ADA process in our office to where an employee, I might have had somebody from the sheriff's office come in, Lieutenant Spiegel or Lieutenant Patterson Captain Patterson walk in at that time and say, hey, look, we gotta take care of this one right now. I can't tell you what happened on that day, obviously, because so much happens on a regular day in there that some days are very quiet, some days it's just one thing after another. But all I can assume from the dates they're saying now is that was the 6th in the afternoon that it was attached to the email that went to the auditor's office, and it was sent in the next morning. So all I can assume from how processes normally go in that office is that I would have created the email, attached it to the email, didn't get around to sending it that day. I don't know if it went in drafts or was just there. Sent it the next morning, and that's the last I knew of it until I heard about it in May.
But what you're saying, he took that and he evidently returned it, because
I
you,
don't believe it came back from the employee, I believe it came from the department.
just from the department. Is it a requirement the employer and the department head and the employee sign that?
They're both supposed to, but if the department has a documentation that they've been coordinating with the employee saying, hey, I can't get in there to do this right now. In this particular person's case, I can tell you this person couldn't come in here to deal with this right at that time. So it would not be unlike the department to sign it on their part and sign on the employee's behalf, saying, you know, I've spoken to them and I'm gonna go ahead and give you this because they're already out, it's gotta be taken care of. And, you know, somebody's gone a week and they don't come apply to family medical leave for me, but their department tells them they've been gone a week, we're gonna put them on family medical leave. At that point, I'm not asking them for their permission to do it, it needs to be done. That's how it needs to be done.
Well, that's by law and policy,
Yes.
you've got to do that,
Yes.
so.
So the signature thing, yes, on our form, just our internal form that we use, we have a signature line for the employee as well. It's more just to make sure that the supervisor and employer are on the same page from when you're gonna be going out, when you're gonna be back, what your reason is, so we know if it's something we really need to look into or not, and then they sign off on it. But this one, I don't believe, and I can pull it, that the employee actually signed it.
Okay.
I do know we received it, because I do have all the emails where he checked in every 2 weeks saying that he was still on continuing medical leave.
But then what you sent the next day had his filled out form, is that correct? Which gives the
That's
date.
what I would've sent. That's the one that went out in the mail, that would have gone out the night before in the mail, or that next morning when the email was sent. I can't tell you when the mail actually went out, but that form would have gone out by mail that the employee received.
Okay, the form that was attached to the email to the auditors, what did that attachment have on it?
The date the employee's gonna go out and their name. And their
Okay.
reason. This one's a serious medical family member.
Yeah. Okay, I don't need to know that,
Yeah.
but what I did was trying to establish what went to the auditor.
It's not pertinent information, it's not information that helps with payroll, that's on the department to report their time off, balances, things like that, so.
The only thing that does, I think that's a good procedure to give the benefits people a heads up that somebody is out, because our department heads are not great about communicating that.
Correct.
They-
And as I stated in the earlier session, though, there are ones that I'll find out in February, I process it then, I get emails,
Yeah.
you know, that when the person goes out, asking, well, did you ever do this family medical leave? Well, yeah, I sent it to you in February, you know, and having to resend them, so that happens regularly. There are those quite regularly, where they apply for them 2 or 3 months before they're actually gonna go, especially in cases where it's a husband that works for us and his wife's gonna have a baby. Well, they know her approximate due date, so they'll go ahead and put in for it now. We'll go ahead and tell them whether they're approved or not approved now, but 2 months from now, she has a baby. Well, yes, I have it, I've already sent it, but it may not be something that's, obviously, I don't expect the auditor office to have all those just up on their screen, just waiting for the person to go out, so I have to resend them from time to time.
Yeah, okay.
So I understand, we have an alleged email that was forged or alleged forged email that went out on the 21st of May, but it had an attachment that was attached to it in March. So it had to remain in a folder, in an unsent file, or something else from March to May 21st. We don't know.
We don't, that's what's baffling about it.
But it was
this whole thing.
attached.
The attachment date that it was what she had forwarded to the auditor's office in May was the document that should have been forwarded or in March on the 7th. The document that they received in May shows that it was attached to an email to them on March 7th. We have November 6th and sent on the 7th.
Attached to email bound for the auditors,
Yes.
bound to benefits,
Yes, sir. And we have no record of that email.
address of benefits.
I want you to look right here. From sent to CC, subject importance. This is the same timeline, May 21st at 5 PM. It shows no attachment. This one does.
Well, this is just a printout. not
This is a
from Outlook.
printout. This is a printout from Outlook,
This is right out of Outlook.
and this is also out of Outlook.
I didn't print that out. I can't say that that's out of Outlook. I was actually, this is what the judge gave me with the coloration on it.
That was the documents from the auditor's office.
Okay. So the auditor's office created that. I'm not sure how they created it.
Well, I think they just printed it. Yeah,
Okay.
So it would be printed from Outlook?
that's the May 21st one, though.
Yes, May 21st, the same exact email, same timestamp, same everything. This one has an attachment, this one does not.
Right, but I asked them if they had one with the attachment, and that's the one you just brought to me. So the attachment is there.
On the 21st.
Okay, and that's,
At 5
So
PM,
this is the one on the 21st that you sent,
this one right here.
which is right here.
Okay, well, this is what the court has been given. It does not have an attachment with that.
Now, this is from Linda's email showing an attachment,
Okay.
which is this and this.
This is from Amanda's email, this is from Linda's email,
This is from Linda's.
okay, and both of those match?
Yes, sir.
And the attachment that is with this, is it timestamp dated on Linda's email?
We did not check that. We didn't check the timestamp on when Linda received it, and truthfully, I don't even know if that will.
Did it show up?
All my years working
You don't know?
Exchange, I had no idea that it timestamped it the way it does.
Well, I mean, if she just printed this off of Outlook, it would surely would have said it had an attachment to it.
I would think, but, I mean, that's, obviously it doesn't, so I'm not, I can't speak to that. Linda's, it is out of
But-
Outlook, see how it's got the line and all that fun stuff, it shows the attachment on the email is being attached.
Well, the auditor just said she just printed this out of Outlook, but it printed differently.
Yes, sir.
but the question, what aroused my concern about it was the fact that we had no other support of Amanda Brumley email addresses anywhere else, which gave reason to think that it may have been created.
Well, today we found out that we had 2 profiles running at the same time since February, starting in February.
I was on that ticket. I can find the dates, but, so she initially requested the name change ticket, came in on February the 12th. And then on February the 15th, Cody Bradley added Amanda Brumley they were both running at the same time. And then, I reached out to her a couple times, one of which was noted in the ticket that was on the 5th, I believe, where I asked her when I could pick it up from her, and she told me Thursday at 1:30. And something happened, I probably got busy, and I didn't get back to her until the 20th, which is when I actually did the profile and closed the ticket and took her laptop back. So, I mean, at any point in there, I could have contacted her and set her default and not even remembered.
But the curious thing again was, that's the only email in researching those that showed Amanda Brumley. Everything else was Amanda Cameron. Yeah, I don't either, but it seems like quite an anomaly that there'd only be one.
If it was created and held in a buffer, I mean, we've established the email was created in March.
March 6th.
Had an attachment put on it in March. We don't know if it was sent. We do know that it was sent, it was
May 21st.
destined, it was addressed to benefits. Correct?
Yeah,
It was addressed to benefits
benefits
in March.
and Linda, yes.
Okay.
How can they tell that in March?
What this,
Because it says CC, it says to Linda, but CC benefits, also Amanda.
That she sent in May. They don't have a copy of the email that she sent in March, because they can't find that.
It's right here.
but this is when the attachment was put on the email in March. That's what, there's a missing email.
This email, and this is
That
why.
wasn't
this
a
is why
separate
if
email.
it's, You know, there's only certain things we can do, and only
So
certain knowledge that we
there's
have.
huge questions as to,
Hire a computer forensics.
Understand.
The email was created on March 6th, but it wasn't necessarily delivered to Linda on March the 6th, isn't that correct?
That's correct, and that
We
happens
don't-
all the time.
yeah.
I've had emails that I'm working on different policies and things like that, that I've already got them typed up and they sit in my draft for
It-
sometimes weeks, months at a time.
it
I've
could
had
have,
them be slowed up and show up the next day, or late in the afternoon when it was sent. I mean,
Sooner or later.
not all the time, but every once in a while. I guess systems are act up.
Could we have one conversation, please?
And that, yeah, I mean, I pulled that up.
Not this May 21st, this
That's
March 2nd.
that's the entire email right there that was forwarded to you in May.
Right.
It was forwarded, which means that it had the attachment in it already. And I just looked at the timestamp.
But she found it in May to forward, but you couldn't find it next week. You couldn't find this one that she forwarded?
No, isn't that
Still
always
can't-
been
still
the
can't find
issue?
the one
How
from
did
March.
she find that?
She's had it the whole time.
But y'all can't find it.
I guess I don't understand what you're asking me. I was asked to find the timestamp on the document, and that's what that is right there.
There are two separate documents. There's this one, this email from May, and this email from,
Which is the same document. That is a forwarded email from May.
Maybe if you explain to them how you got the screenshot from the back off of the first email, maybe that makes more sense, because that made sense when you explained it to me, is what did you click on, or what did you do to get that timestamp on the last?
I pulled up that email
The forwarded.
that was forwarded to you
on
on
May
May.
21st.
You right click on the properties, because it's a forward from an original email that shows that it was attached on March the 6th.
The attachment, she's saying the attachment in the forwarded email, it was attached to that document, the original document on March 6th. Because if I had forwarded, or if I had attached it on May 21st, it would say May 21st.
This is the date that it was changed. That's the document.
That is the timestamp on the attachment.
Which was March the 6th, but that's not this email.
It's straight from that.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding.
But it's a chain of forwarded emails. So like she didn't create a new email attachment on May 21st. For whatever reason,
The original email can't be found,
Yeah.
but,
on
That's
any,
the
on
forward.
anything we have.
but it was
But
The
the
document was
forward
attached
shows
on
that
our
the document
was
in
attached.
question is attached to that email on the 6th and shows it being sent on the 7th. But no, ma'am, there's no record on the data code, which is why we have the doggone thing,
But if
that
this,
shows that
if
the
this
email
email,
was sent.
if this is the email that was sent to Ron on the sixth, and the information was just changed, it's going to say the sixth on this email.
No,
You
that has
cannot
to do
change
with the
the
attachment.
You can't change the timestamp on that attachment. There's no way to edit it.
How does your data code email, how does Outlook and data code keeping the original date that was attached, but not keeping anything else?
That's not from data
Well,
code.
it keeps the original date it was sent, data code does. Data
Okay,
code-
well, in Outlook, how is it keeping that date, but it's not keeping the email?
Good question. That's why from day one, I said if we want to go any further, we need computer forensics, because it should be on data code. There are other messages between y'all on March 6th and March 7th that are on data code. That one's not. I have no idea why.
Sent from Cameron, not from.
Correct.
My response to you, that about the forensic investigator was, if you can say unequivocally that it appears it was made, then I don't think we need to go any further than I trust you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and unequivocally from what, the tools I had and what I knew at the time. I gave you the, my conclusion, which was that it looked like it had been tampered with, which is easy to do, you can hit forward on anything, go down to whatever, change the to, from, time, all of that fun stuff. Once you hit forward, the whole, body, from, all that,
So,
However, George, your statement was made before Ashley is now brought up the fact, like you just said, you didn't even know it shows the attachment date
correct.
to the email.
so before this document was, before we had this document in our possession, it looked pretty certain that an email was created.
Yes, to me.
With this document now in our possession, is your opinion the same?
My opinion is in question. I can't say one way or the other.
So we're back to the original that no one can say for sure.
Well, I
Because it's
mean,
still baffling that the email's not on data.
Well, I agree.
I can't explain that.
I don't understand the time stamping. So let's say I forward this document here, I've got it in my possession, and I wait an hour apiece and forward to every one of these guys. What timestamp's gonna be on the document?
When you originally created the email. Because a forward is just a forward of the original email.
Well, I know, but I mean, wouldn't you have to have the email to know when it was attached to the email? I mean, I know there's a timestamp on the document, but it doesn't say who the document's being timestamped to, right?
They got that out of the email. Ashley had the email pulled up on my
Yeah.
computer and went straight to the attachment from that forwarded email. The last forwarded message says May 21st, the original says May 7th, and the attached document, or March
6th.
7th. But the document itself, when she went and opened that part of it, that's what she's telling you. The document was attached to that original email on the 6th. The email was sent on the 7th. There's no way I could have attached a document or to something on May 21st that shows the system saying it was attached on March 6th.
I know, but why wouldn't the document show a timestamp of if I would have to forward the original email
Yeah.
to have the timestamp, right?
Because like we talked about before, you can reply to an email. You reply, you're not going to get the attachment. So like if I sent you an email with an attachment and I sent it to all of y'all, you would have all gotten the email
With the attachment.
with the attachment. But then, let's say that I wanted to, I replied and I included Lori, and I just replied. Everybody would get the email, but no one would get an attachment, including Lori. But if I hit forward to all of y'all and then added Lori, you would all get the document again, including Lori, and it would have the timestamp of the document that was originally attached on the email that I was forwarding you. Because that's what I'm doing, is I'm resending you.
Yeah, so once an attachment is made, whatever the original date stamp on there, it's going to stay. It's not going to change with however many times it's forwarded.
That's what I didn't understand about any of this when we started looking through all of it. It wasn't on Datacode, it wasn't in Cent. All we had was this one in May.
So this document that says FMLA notification 0306-219 was not sent to the employee, ever?
I don't
This
know.
one.
The email that I pulled up that I got the timestamp off of is the one that she re-forwarded to the auditor's office on May 21st.
Well, I just wondered what that timestamp said if the employee received that.
No, his was mailed out. His was mailed.
No, we just determined that you did email him.
No, I emailed him the
The
blank
blank.
request for family medical leave earlier.
This is the filled out form.
Okay.
Yeah, not this form.
Was the completed form sent to the supervisor? Do we know that? Would it have been sent to the supervisor during that time frame?
On that one, I don't know for sure.
Well,
Go back to
the supervisor would have had to
Supervisor don't-
completed the form. They were in control of the form.
That was sent to us, I don't know if they.
Does the supervisor get the completed FMLA form?
Well,
No,
the
they're not entitled to
supervisor,
it.
according to you, Amanda, the supervisor completed the form, correct?
I believe so, yes. I would have to look it up. but
So-
I'm pretty sure this employee was already gone.
They would have forwarded that back
They
to
would
you?
have sent me back, okay, I would have sent out the request for family medical leave, the Wichita County form that we use, that we've created, to send, to get enough information, to understand why someone's gone, how long they're gonna be gone, if it's gonna be intermittent or continuous. When I get it back, it's generally signed by either just the supervisor if the employee's already gone. I know Lori's had some cases like that where they've had to sign them on their behalf because they're already out. But the person's been gone 5 days, so we're putting them on family medical leave. When I get it back, Sonia or myself complete the Department of Labor form that we've been using for quite a while now, basically the whole time I've been in this position. It's much more simple than the ones that Bob Hampton's received, that, pages and pages of information on family medical leave. It's just very cut and dry. This person requested on this date to be out from this, beginning on this date. It doesn't even say the end date on it. We notify the employee that if you stay out continuous, this would be your end date if you stayed out for 12 weeks. That form gets mailed to the employee, and then we email a copy of it as courtesy to the auditor's office as a heads up, basically, because we don't report the employee's time off. If it's an intermittent one where they come and go, I don't contact them every time I know the employee's back. That's not, I don't do payroll, I don't do time. That's between the department head. We have nearly 500 employees. I can't tell them every time an employee's in and out because half the time I don't know about it. But the information I do know is this employee's going out on this day for this reason. They are clear to go out on family medical leave. They have their 12 weeks. Or it'll have notes in there if the person's already used partial family medical leave, they only got 4 weeks left. But literally, that is all the information included in that form. The employee themselves can contact us for more information if they want to, but basically, in the bottom of that form, there's a little disclaimer that says, basically, stay in contact with your supervisor as far as your leave balances go, and if you come to the point where you're gonna be running out of paid leave, you need to contact benefits. It provides their phone number as well, to get a hold of them, so that they know they're not going to run out of insurance, or run out of paid leave that pays for their supplementals and things like that. So I don't know if that's actually what began this whole thing, is possibly the employees' benefits were overpaid, or they were overpaid, but that would not be anything that had to do with my office. That would have been between the department and benefits.
But you don't know how you got this document back?
No, we still can't figure it out.
I mean, was the supervisor in his department or her
Oh, you mean
department?
when I got the request back? When I got the request back, I got the paper copy. I got a paper copy. I don't remember if it came, I don't remember, that was months ago. So I don't know if it came through in dropped on Sonia's desk, or I'm not sure exactly when we got it, but it was the emails back and forth from Meredith and the send out to the employee to get him to fill it out were all within like a 24-hour period leading up to the 6th and on the 6th. And then after that, we've got the document was created in the afternoon on the 6th. I may have left the email open and not actually hit send on it until the next morning, which is why it shows a timestamp on the other one of 9-something in the morning. But the document itself shows that it was attached to that email to the auditor's office on the 6th.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Good.
To the best of our ability.
And Ashley, what does this second page show?
That's just a screenshot of the file server of the document. Just its properties. Just to verify that the document that I found in the attachment was the same one that was on the server.
On this page, I notice it says last changed. So had it been changed anytime past March 6th, that would reflect that date, I assume. You understand what I'm asking?
Been reattached.
No, it would have to be reattached to
Yeah,
an email.
okay.
It would be a completely different attachment once it's changed. It would be a completely different document
Yeah,
at that
because
point.
if I forward it to you again, it's still
Yeah.
gonna say it's March 16th. It would be a new, it would
It'd be a
basically
new
be a new
document.
email. Or, I mean, you could get really crafty and pull up and unattach it and reattach a new one.
And this notification here, this 244 kilobyte,
That's the
deal,
size of the
that is the
document,
form,
Yeah.
I assume, okay.
which is the properties on
If-
the middle page.
If I go in and right-click that attachment
You
and
can-
copy it,
You can remove it.
but I just copy it, so it stays there. But then I add it to another email, is that going to change the date?
It should, yes, because that
It's a
date
new
is
document.
Yeah.
physically attached to that email.
Okay.
Because when you forward,
Yeah.
you have the ability to delete. You know, I can forward you a document with a PDF on it, and I can add more to it, or I can remove all of the attachments and forward you an email. I mean, you can do a lot of things once you forward, but you can't change the properties of that timestamp on that attachment.
Okay. Ms. Castillo?
Can we have IT bring a laptop in here and let's go through what they're saying happened? Because I just had someone in my office attach a PDF to an email and send it to me. And if you click on the last change, it shows February 5th, 2019, when the PDF document was created. It doesn't show today's date when he sent it. So
You said it shows today's date?
it does not. It shows February 5th. That's the date the PDF was changed. So if we could have IT go through the process and
That's
attach
what
the
she
PDF.
just said, though. That's what this is
No,
what
no,
this is
I'm
saying.
saying, he sent me an email today, and the PDF was created on February 5th. When you click on the PDF in the email that he was sent to, that I was sent today, it says February 5th. It does not have today's date that he attached the PDF. So the PDF was created on March 6th. It doesn't matter when she attached it to the email. If you click on that, it's gonna say last changed March 6th, because that's when the PDF was created, not the email. It doesn't show that that was attached to the email on that day.
Ashley, you're gonna have to take time. It's serious, so.
The email was not sent on March 7th, and it was not created on March 6th. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter when the PDF was created, it's the email that was falsified in May.
Ash, can you pull it up on your screen in here?
Well, at this point, I'd like to, just request that you guys hire some real forensics experts, because this is important,
It is.
you know? And, I think they could do a much better job than we can, because that's what they do. And we have very limited tools, and this ain't something we do every day. You know, and all my years of working with
And they're very busy.
email and exchange servers and stuff like that, it's first time I've ever had this come up. And I worked with DOD for 20 years. So, or the Air Force, whichever one. So,
That
the Air Force
attachment
is a
bill
part of the DOD.
is something that I learned 15 years ago when my mom had a computer store, and we used to have people who would argue that we never sent them a bill via email. And that's how I learned that there was a timestamp on when you attach. So I've never had to use it since then, but
Okay. That's probably a pretty reasonable suggestion to go that next level of expertise if that's the desire of the court.
What's the availability of that?
What's the cost?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Well, we don't have either. Okay, George asked a question, please answer.
I mean, are there local people that do that, or?
I do not know that.
Yeah, I understand. Not something you dealt with.
And this is not anything that we've ever done. We've had to do it a couple times, basically, when, some drives that crashed that had very sensitive information on it and need recovered and wasn't being backed up. People weren't keeping the stuff on the file server, and we've had to send those off. We sent the drive off to companies that, recover hard drives, things like that. So then we had to send it to Dallas, exactly. So I don't know, I got some contacts I can reach out to and see if they can make some recommendations.
Okay. Ms. Castillo?
I'd just like to clarify, Amanda keeps saying that this is a courtesy that she lets us know. That's not true. HR is responsible for tracking FMLA when employees are gone on FMLA and she's supposed to notify us. We don't get the timesheets from all the departments, so we don't have a way of knowing that an employee is out on leave unless HR notifies us. So the department and the employee work with HR on FMLA. She does have a responsibility for notifying us. It's not just a courtesy because we can't monitor take action on the payroll and benefits if we don't know about that.
I have a direct rebuttal specifically from Corey Liner that he just sent me last week about two things. I did not even know that two employees were out. One from the sheriff's office for 60-something hours. As I understand it, the auditor's office is in charge of the time clock system now. Is that correct? I get an email, let me finish please. I get an email from Corey saying there's an employee in the sheriff's office that was out for 60-something hours. I'm not aware of it whatsoever.
We
I've
have
not
the
heard.
exact same access that we have, Amanda, as far as read-only
Do I
access.
track time clock?
Well,
I
you
absolutely.
should, because it's FMLA. You should be looking at time clock, same as we.
I watch employees that are on family medical leave. If I was not
Okay.
aware that an employee is out of work.
Okay, this is not germane to our discussion.
That's right.
Actually, it's specifically to that.
And the reason
I
that we
decide-
want to request time clock plus is because we are not notified and employees keep their health insurance and the county's out $700 a month for every month that we don't know about it. So we've been running a report from Time Clock Plus to see, is there somebody out that we were not notified about? So we sent an email and said, are you aware that these employees are out? Do you have any information on them? On one vote, she said she was aware and it was not her responsibility to let us know about that.
No, actually, that is not the wording that I used.
Okay,
I was not
that's
eligible
enough.
for medical leave.
We're not going to hash that today, but we'll work that out no matter what, because there is a relationship there. Okay. Where does the court want to go from right here?
Start at the end, go down like you do every day.
Okay, this is public comments, but I mean, is someone going to make a motion? That's what I'm asking you. Okay, let me just throw out. One would be to put this on hold and have George come back and brief the court on what the chances of getting a professional that does this kind of thing to do that and what the cost is. Second would be for the court to take action on the information it has now, if it wished to do that. Third would be to take action to say we're not going to do anything at all, and it's going to be over today.
Well, I have an opinion. My opinion is that even though we can't explain why Dataco does the many different things that it's done, no one can substantiate the accusation. I mean, we can speculate, but no one can substantiate it. you know, I feel like we should just move on and not spend a ton of money trying to figure out that the computer had a glitch. I mean, it could be as basic and simple as that. And I know that we have personalities that clash. I get that, I understand that. But I also think that we need to be very, very frugal with a person's life and their future. And an unsubstantiated accusation is just not responsible, in my opinion. If we did something like that, would be very irresponsible. So my motion would be, let's go back to work.
What about
That's
Commissioner
what I-
Beecham? You got, let's get feedback like you suggested. You seem to speak up first this morning.
I tend to trust what I'm hearing from Ashley. I've been trusting their judgment all along on this, telling me what they feel is correct. I have no reason to doubt their suspicions or their questions at this point. So to me, there's serious doubts that this was a falsified email. It's a glitch. So I tend to agree with Lee.
Commissioner Marler?
Well, you can't prove the negative.
Exactly.
You gotta prove the positive. My only thought would be Ashley's work today has been a game changer for me.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, what's the harm in finding out whether it is a tremendous amount of money to follow this up?
Right.
I mean, I think we owe it to the whole deal to find out. I mean, you know, this is a $100,000 deal, guys. We're probably more prudent, trying to do something for our employees, but we don't know that, and I'd like to have that information, Judge. I mean, it may not be an arm and a leg to go chase this down, I don't know. I mean, this kind of stuff is expensive, I understand. One thing about it, we could put this to bed, we'd know for sure.
I'm with Commissioner Muller, and I think George and Ashley alluded to the fact that they felt like more comfortable if we'd moved to a review of that similar type, and George has told us now multiple times we should do that, so I'm with Commissioner Muller on that. I think we should.
At least research it and see.
Yeah.
If it's out of our reach, it's out of our reach.
Sure.
Sometimes it is, but we don't know that. I don't know that.
Okay. If that comes to fruition, is there any guidance on her employment status, whether she be placed on with or without pay suspension until this is done, or continue to do business as we have?
Well, how long, George, does something like this take typically in your?
Commissioner, I honestly don't know. I've never.
Have you ever been?
We've ever done, we've sent just a hard drive out of a workstation PC off.
And that was just to retrieve the document.
And that was to retrieve I think they retrieved the whole profile for the individual. It was about $1,400. This has been some years ago. That's the only, there's absolutely no way that we could send our Exchange server off. We'd be without email the entire time it's gone.
They'd have to come
So
here.
we'd have to have somebody here on site to
And then
research that.
and then you have to factor in the trace. It's not, you're not just looking for that lost.
They'd
Try to
have to
figure
run
out
the
if
whole-
it-
Trace the whole deal down and see what happened to it.
They'd have to figure
Okay.
out if it was actually changed. There's
So-
a little bit more to it.
So we need to know the parameters of doing that.
Yes, sir.
Sheriff Duke, you had something?
I just got this to say, did anything that's happened with this email, was it illegal? Did someone get harmed, did it open county liability? It's a yes or no question. I'm not an attorney, never played one on TV, but I think no. We all know there's personality conflicts in this whole building. Some of us have them opted up here.
No.
I didn't want to just jump out for me.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Work together still?
Yes, sir, we do.
Judge, you too?
Yes, sir.
And although we have differences, we leave them here, but we go out and do it. Obviously, there's a difference between the auditor's office and HR. Unless she's violated some kind of law or something that's gonna open county civil liability, I think if, this is just me speaking as an elected official. If it's my employee and I fire her, I'm sure this attorney in front of me and the other ones that she works with will be all over me. And the attorney like the one sitting over here will file the first lawsuit in federal court as fast as she can walk down the street. I I don't know this lady from anybody, I'm assuming she's attorney, I think she's attorney.
She's a friendly attorney is what she said.
But I'm just telling you, as a county taxpayer, this is a waste of time. For all five of you men up there, Lori, Willie, all of us, our IT people are so overloaded right now.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I trust him. Have I ever had email disappear? You're dang right I have. And it's happened. And I can't figure it out. I'm not gonna mess with Ashley. And some of it been important stuff. I'm not gonna waste their time. Unless somebody's dead, dying, escaped, or liability of the county's hanging out the window. That's just my 2 cents about the whole thing. I think Tommy's got something like that to it. Anyway, that's all I'm saying.
Mr. Smythe?
I'll say this, for the better part of 8 years, I swam in these waters every day to go. Internal affairs over 2,000 employees. And I will tell you right here, verbatim, as a unit level investigator, mid-level supervisor investigator with the state agency I work for, these allegations would have never made it to the regional level for review. This is the most circumstantial, unsubstantiated, crackerjack deal I've ever seen in my life. I'm ashamed. I don't mind telling you, I'm a kind of a blunt kind of guy. We're talking about somebody's career. We're not talking about a 16-year-old who puts a Snicker in his pocket at a convenience store and he gets deferred adjudication and he goes on about his life. We're talking about somebody's life. This is career ending. And it's so marginal. I agree wholeheartedly with Lee Harvey. And I'm gonna tell you something right now, and I think they will back me up on this. I worked, my last 8 years at PD, I worked down the hall from the whole financial crimes unit. That's all they did was forensic stuff. This forensic stuff is not cheap. It's not cheap, and it's not done in a timely fashion. It's kind of like these sexual assault rape kits we got going on. It takes 6 or 8 months to get one of those back. You're not gonna have an answer on this next week. You need to let this go. This is most unsubstantial. And here's my deal, there's no meat on the bone. Even if she did alter, what in the world did it alter the course of history? Like David said, did somebody get hurt? Did county government take a significant hit financially? I'm trying to figure out where's the beef. I know that's an old commercial around here. Where is the beef on this deal? I can't figure it out. I am ashamed that we've got so much time tied up in this deal. And really, I mean, you can't substantiate. I could not take this to my regional captain in a file folder if a ward had come to me already and said, Tommy, go down this road and take a look at this. I could not get this past regional to get it back to legal in Huntsville. Legal in Huntsville wouldn't touch it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you'd look like a fig Newton in a courtroom in this deal. Let this thing go. I'm like Lee, let's get back to work. Let it go. It didn't alter the course of history. Nobody got hurt. I don't think we overpaid anybody. That certainly had to come up here in conversation. Hadn't heard it yet.
That wasn't
And
the
I
issue,
still
Mr.
got a
Smythe.
problem. Hang on a second. I still got a problem. What would be the motive, if there was a motive, you could get your arms around one, for changing a date? Out of all things to change. Nobody says she never changed the substance of the email, right, wrong, or indifferent. A date. I'm telling you, I agree with David, it's the biggest waste of time you've seen in a long time. I'm ashamed of county government, declare you can put that to paper. If somebody wants to talk to me outside, they can talk to me outside.
It's May 21st. 2 months and a day.
I'm telling you, where did this thing pivot in county government that this is so monumental that you're going to dismiss an employee who does not have an inferior, as far as I know, inferior workforce history? There's 20 departments in county government, according to our new website, Lee. If you shake them out, you end up with about 39 department heads. Now, if I turned around here right now and I had 25 or 39 department heads that said she was doing a lousy job Monday through Friday and twice on Saturday and Sunday, I'd say do something with her. You don't even have that out here. It ain't out here to be found. One incident is going to define her career for the rest of her life. Something with tampering governmental records, she will not be able to do any type of governmental work. It's a kiss of death. But you can't get your arms around none of it. And if you want to spend another $27,000 or whatever it may is, let's go ahead and spend it. But I don't think. But again, you're upside down trying to shake this thing 6 different ways from Sunday. And really, what did it actually cost county government to begin with?
Integrity costs a lot. And that's what this is about, is the integrity of a communication.
Let's spend $127,000, Judge, on integrity.
If it's necessary, it might be done.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Tomorrow morning, county government's going to have a Texas Records, open records request for Tommy Smythe. I want to know what's been spent on this. Because I got a letter going out out to 83,000 tax accounts in October. I'm gonna tell the taxpayers need to know what we spent on this. And like I said, I'm gonna talk to all 83,000 of them in October.
Just tell them the whole story, you'll need a few more pages. All right, anything else from y'all?
How would you like us to proceed?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out here. Okay.
Can we just make a motion, vote on something?
Well, somebody can. Commissioner Watson, Commissioner Waller expressed one. I was in agreement with them. But you had something you proposed, so somebody needs to make a motion.
Run something up the pole,
Yeah. Excuse me.
basically.
Yeah.
I'll run it up. I'll make a motion that we put this behind us, and we can't substantiate anything, and I don't think that Amanda should be suspended in any way or hurt financially if we decide to go do some forensic anything. So I just think, like the sheriff and Tommy, we just need to just go back to work. So that'd be my motion, is to
No action to be taken by the
action
court.
be taken.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. That no action be taken by the court. Any other comment? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye, or hold your hand up. Aye. Opposed? 3-2.
Passes.
Amanda, do you want to say, I appreciate you presented yourself, you did well. We'll move on forward from here. I do want you to work. I have a great deal of respect and admiration for the auditor's office and the efforts they put into this and trying to make things work well and report well. We need to work on that relationship.
Yes, sir, I agree.
Okay.
I think we're all in agreement.
Okay. If there's no further business, it's,
George, Ashley, thank y'all.
yes,
Thanks.
thank you very
Thanks,
much.
George.
3:55 and we're adjourned.